Hi everyone. I wanted to make a short video here because we don't have class today to explain a relatively minor change that I have made to the way that our course is structured. Over the past couple of class sessions that we've had, I've been reflecting on how the course is built, how it's structured. And I've decided that I don't like one or two of the decisions that the course designer made. So I am tweaking them a little bit, and I think you will appreciate the changes. So let me walk you through what those changes are. So you may notice that over here on the left in Blackboard, there are a couple of things that are missing. One is the course schedule. Now that is only temporarily hidden. Once I finish making some of the changes that I'm about to describe, I will make that course schedule available to you again. But for now, just to avoid confusion while I tweak our class, you will not be able to access that course schedule. The main change that I have made is there's no longer going to be Sunday work. That's the other button that you may notice is missing from this left navigation bar here. There's no longer a button that says Sunday submissions. I think what happened is that the person who designed this class is used to teaching online, or they made this class based around an online class where the students were submitting work on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Sundays. But of course, we are an in-person class and we do not meet Sunday. So there's not really a reason, at least in my mind, for you all to turn work in on Sunday night and then come to class Monday morning. That feels a little bit counterintuitive. So the main change that I have made is that instead of having work due Sunday night, any homework that you are assigned over the weekend will just be due by the start of class time on Monday. So that gives you a little bit more time. And also, I didn't like that in order for you to submit that work, you had to go to a different button outside of our classroom. It's really my preference for most of the assignment instructions and the links to submit things on Blackboard. I find it's just easier if that's all more or less under our classroom. So let me show you where you can now find your homework. So I'm going to go to our classroom. And in the future, to find your homework that is due over the weekend, you will always go to that next week. So we are in week 2 right now. And to see the homework that is due during week 3, you're going to have to go to the week 3 folder. And now, of course, I will still go over all homework assignments in class, but just where to find that on Blackboard, you'll always look to the week ahead. And so you'll see at the top of our week 3 folder, I have a list of what is due by the start of class on Monday. And even though we don't have class today, I would still like you to complete these things for homework. It's only Wednesday today, so you should have plenty of time to get these things done, especially with classes being canceled for today. So for Monday, I want you to complete the Monday assignment, which is a brainstorming activity for writing Project 1, and you're going to submit that to the Week 3 Monday assignment. So I moved this from the Sunday assignment folder, and it is now just here at the beginning of Week 3. So this will be due by the start of class this coming Monday. Work will no longer be submitted on Sunday nights. And I'll go over the instructions for this assignment here in a minute. I would also like you to bring a descriptive list of characters in your narrative collage to class, and I'll give you some more instructions on that in a moment. And I also would like you to read chapters 41 and 44 in the Norton Field Guide in your textbook. So now let me expand on a couple of those things. The descriptive list of characters, I have some instructions here for you. So basically any person, or perhaps even any animal that is going to be in your collage, you can count them as a character. It doesn't matter if they are a real person or not. Presumably they are a real person. But anytime that you put someone into a story, that person becomes a character, even if they are a real life person. So what I'd like you to bring is a list of people who are going to be in your narrative collage, and I want you to also include a brief description of that character. For what you can include in those descriptions, I have a list here. You do not need to include all of these things. These are just things for you to consider, for you to keep in mind. So you might describe the character's appearance, their attitude, their body language, how do they express themselves with hand gestures and facial expressions, how do they hold themselves, as well as their manner of speaking. Do they speak loudly, quietly? Do they have a high-pitched voice, a really deep voice? Is it kind of gravelly? Do they speak in, a twang or, in some other, kind of like dialect that other than, like standard written English? So all things for you to consider in your descriptions of your character. Now, let me go over the assignment instructions for you for this week 3 Monday assignment. So I want you to do some brainstorming about your narrative collage. And to do this, you're going to respond to some prompts here. So I would like you to type this. You are going to be submitting an electronic copy of this. So this should not be handwritten. It should be typed. And real quick, I'll point out that you can check out the Student Success Gallery for week 2 to see examples of how other people have done this brainstorming. So I'm going to jump over here to Student Success Gallery. We haven't looked at this much in class yet. You can go to week 2, and here are some examples of people doing pre-writing that you can take a look at. If you're not really sure what your submission should be like. All right, so let me go back to the assignment here. So you're just going to respond to some prompts. So think back to the video that we watched in class, in which the professor was describing threads of identity. If you don't remember that video, that is in the week 2 folder, so you're welcome to rewatch that video. And I'd like you to make a list of the various threads that describe and shape who you are. It might help you think in terms of roles you play or groups you belong to. I have some examples here of potential identity threads. Next, imagine an interviewer asking you this question about some of the items you listed above. What's it like to be X? So for example, what's it like to be a frontline worker in the age of COVID-19? What's it like to be involved in the Black Lives Matter movement? So any threads of the identity, of your identity that you mentioned up here, you're now going to kind of expand on that. So what is it like to be that person, or to be that thing, to be that identity? For number 3, I want you to list some stories or memories or events that are related to the things that you mentioned in step 2. So do you have any good stories, any good memories that help illustrate, what it's like to be that aspect of your identity? If one of your identity threads is you are a football player, what's it like to be a football player? And then do you have any good stories that are related to that? A time where you overcame a challenge, or, you were an underdog and you still found victory. Things along those lines. And then lastly, look over your lists of possible stories and memories and choose at least 2 that you think might be interesting for you to write about or for other people to read. And for each of those 2 memories that you've chosen, try to freeze frame the memory. So, in other words, imagine one scene from the memory and then describe it, following the prompts below. We've talked about how vignettes sometimes do not have beginnings and ends. They just zoom in on a particular moment. And so that's what we're going to be practicing here a little bit. So once you've identified a couple of stories or a couple of memories that you think are interesting, you're going to freeze frame on them. You're going to zoom in on them and describe what can you hear, smell, taste. What do you see in this moment? What are people saying in this memory? And then how do you feel in this memory or in this moment? So there's a lot here, but I think doing this writing is going to get you off to a really good start for your writing project. Oftentimes, the hardest part of doing a project is just getting started, not knowing what the expectations are or what you should say. But this sort of brainstorming, thinking about the threads of your identity, reflecting on important memories, and beginning to describe those memories, I think will be really helpful to you. So you'll type this up in a Word document, and then you'll submit it here by the start of class on Monday. To make that submission, you'll just hit this link here. It'll take you to this page, which you will again see the instructions, and then you can submit your file here by browsing local files and just uploading the relevant file from your computer. I think that is most of what I wanted to go over with you today. I did also tell you that I would give you specific dates for when things are due, like drafts of writing project 1 are due. So I have gone through our course schedule and I've identified those dates for you. You may want to write these down, set reminders for yourself, whatever's going to help you remember. You have a 1,000 word draft due February 6th. You have a complete rough draft due February 8th. And then your final draft of Writing Project 1 is due February 15th. And now remember, if you don't like the grade that you get on your final draft of Writing Project 1, you are welcome to revise it. I will give you more instructions on that when it becomes relevant. So those are the changes to our class. That's your homework for Monday. If you're confused by anything, you need help with anything, just send me an email and I will help you out.